As the nations of Western Europe entered a new half-century, they were filled with new courage and fresh vitality. Slowly, painfully, the wounds of war were healing, and people everywhere were again breathing the good, clean air of hope and confidence. Little by little, as the memories of chaos and desperation faded, the look of Europe brightened. Across the continent, towns and villages were wearing an air of cautious optimism. There was a new spirit pervading the free democracies, the spirit of European recovery. ERP. These initials had become the trademark of progress, symbolizing the greatest construction program in Europe's long history. Everywhere the work went forward, the work of building a better continent, stronger, more prosperous, and free. Everywhere, Europe's achievements were awakening pride in the hearts of young and old in 18 nations united for recovery under the Marshall Plan. Today, Europeans are taking a new and more intense interest in the economic facts of life. Gradually, they are learning that man's standard of living depends basically on man's level of production. Fortunately, by 1950, midway through the Marshall Plan, that level of production is rising everywhere. And the people watch with mounting satisfaction the climbing curves of economic progress. Together, they follow the facts and figures of Europe today. Facts and figures like those of Walcheren Island, close off the sandy shores of Holland. Only a few short years ago, Walcheren lay bombed and blasted, a battle casualty in history's fiercest war. The dikes of defense were down, and the enemy sea had recaptured the rich topsoil of Walcheren. But, though the job is not yet done, men and machines have teamed up to beat the sea. Now, Walcheren, like all Holland, begins contributing its harvest to a swelling food supply for Europe. And while the tractors clatter across the farmland of today, the steam shovels dig at the farmland of tomorrow. One by one, the dikes stand firm again, symbolizing Europe's determination to rebuild and to make full use of her natural wealth. Sharing in that determination are the people of Turkey, down in Europe's southeast corner. Guided by local experts and American technical advisors, Turkish farmers are learning how to get the most from their soil at the least cost with the least effort. Especially vital to Turkey's farm modernization program is farm machinery, which now arrives in ever greater quantities. A new type of plow from Detroit, a harrow from Milwaukee, a combine from Des Moines, come to plant and to harvest the crops of Turkish farmers. These machines will finally change the whole aspect of Turkey's primitive agriculture, and this land will become a prime source of food for Europe. But even in nations whose agriculture is already far advanced, as in Denmark, for example, farmers are making great strides in food production. Supplied through the Marshall Plan with new high-grade feeds, the Danes have vastly increased their poultry and livestock holdings. More chickens mean more eggs and cheaper eggs for the Danes and all the people of Europe. More pigs mean more ham, too, and more bacon from bigger and healthier herds. More cows mean more milk and cheese from Denmark's scientific dairy farms. A little country plays a leading role in a European program whose aim is more food for more people. Today, this program is growing in scope, and Western Europe's food production increases steadily month after month and year after year. Behind the encouraging facts stand the crates and boxes and barrels filled with food, filled with a score of different products for a score of different nations. But as Western Europe continues to produce more food and more goods, the job of transporting this growing output increases too. Belgium, modernizing and improving her great port of Antwerp, is one country which has met the transportation challenge squarely since the war. To a greater extent than ever, Antwerp is today the hub of Belgium's thriving export-import trade. Through Antwerp Harbor, in always greater volume, flows a steady stream of international trade and commerce. Italy is another nation with a special interest in transportation problems. Throughout the country, Italians have eagerly followed the reconstruction of their ports and merchant ships, projects financed largely by counterpart funds of the Marshall Plan. They are especially proud of the hundreds of new bridges they've thrown across their rivers. The great railroad bridge over the Po, perhaps their peak accomplishment so far, links together the industrial cities of northern Italy. Over the Po Bridge, night and day, travel the fast freights from Milan, Turin, and Genoa, headed straight for Trieste, the transshipment city at the head of the Adriatic Sea. Trieste, its painful post-war history already half forgotten, is becoming once again a bustling port. Strategically placed to serve half a dozen trading nations, Trieste is the great transshipment center for ERP supplies en route to Austria and other lands. Meanwhile, Trieste is re-establishing her traditional shipbuilding industry. A passenger liner, cargo ships, and a whole fleet of fishing vessels are taking shape in her busy shipyards. Soon, newly completed ships will steam out of Trieste's harbor to ply the sea lanes of half the world. And some of them will go by way of the Corinthe Canal, one of Europe's important shipping shortcuts in central Greece. This vital transportation lane, thoroughly demolished in 1944, has been rebuilt with American engineers and American equipment. Today, alive with traffic once again, it seems to symbolize Greece's dogged recovery effort. And at Piraeus, Greece's chief port, ships load and unload the precious goods which are slowly revitalizing a war-torn land. In France, meanwhile, around another waterway, workmen are pushing ahead with one of Europe's most ambitious post-war projects. Between the towns of Donzère and Mondragon, huge machines are today at work, diverting part of the great river Rhone from its bed. For some 16 miles, the Rhone will be imprisoned in a canal now being scooped from the earth.